Hey everyone, and welcome back to the X-Ring. I hope you're doing well today. I hope you guys enjoyed the Oklahoma hunt. That was a really unique experience. But it really got me thinking, has long range gotten too easy? And I think it has, and if you want to see the results of this test, I'm gonna go buy a rifle, I'm gonna buy a scope, and we're gonna try to do this for less than $1,000, and we're gonna try to shoot it out to a mile. If you wanna see that, stick around. All right, so oftentimes I get emails from folks wanting to get into long range, but they don't want to spend a ton of money. They basically want to do it on a budget, and I think there's some options out there for doing that. So my goal today is October the 19th, it's Saturday. Guys, it's 11:46 a.m. Matter of fact, I'm going to take my camera here, and I'm going to show you guys this. 11:46. 11:47. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the trek to Asheville, North Carolina. I'm on the drive right now, and I'm going to try to go into a Sportsman's Warehouse and buy the cheapest 6.5 Creedmoor available. Now that might end up being something like a Remington or a Savage or whatever, but I want to do this rifle sub $500. And then, you know, big shout out to the guys at Arken. They sent me a couple scopes to evaluate. I'm not sponsored by Arken or anything like that, but I've got the new 7-35. I'm not going to put that on there. That's a, you know, a $500, almost $600 optic. But I do have the EP and the SH series, and those are $300 optics that I know that the tracking's good on them. I've tested them before. These are brand new, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy this rifle, hopefully less than $500. And then I'm gonna take one of these, like let's say the SH4, I'm gonna throw it on there. You're looking at 300 and some change. So I'll have about $800 in it. I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna mount it out in the field. I'm not gonna use any type of specialized equipment. I'm not gonna use a Garmin Zero. I'm not gonna use any crazy, you know, plumb levels or anything like that. I wanna get it zeroed at 100 yards. Hopefully, I'm gonna buy 2 boxes of ammo, probably 147 and 140 grain ELD-Ms, you know, from Hornady. I know it's good ammo, and I want to see what this rifle will do. Hopefully it'll be about 2 minutes or less. If it can do a minute, great, but 2 minutes or less is the expectation. And what I want to do is take it out to Old Fort today and see if we can get it out to 700 yards. I'm going to record every shot. I want you guys to see this. And then tomorrow, the Clinton House is doing a 1 mile shoot. So I want to be able to shoot out to a mile. And let's see if we can do it within, let's say, less than 20 shots or so while we're out there. You know, I know that's, I'm hoping that it'll be less than that. But there's one caveat to this, and that is, I don't know if Sportsman's Warehouse is going to have a mount so that I'm not stuck with 0 MOAs. If I'm going to try to shoot this thing out to a mile with one of those scopes, I need to make sure I have enough taper. So I might end up having to use, you know, a higher end, let's say scope base, if you will, because they might not have the taper that I need. I think for a minimum, we want about 30 minutes if we want to be able to dial max and still hold. So I think this is going to be a really cool experiment. I'll come back at you from the parking lot at Sportsman's Warehouse. We'll see what time it is, because I've been on the road for a while now, and we'll see what happens. We're pulling up to the Sportsman's Warehouse. I'm not sure if they're going to let me do any filming in there, so I'll do what I can do, and we will go in and see what we come out. Let's go check it out.
Give me this one for a couple of this. How's it going, man?
Good.
Long time no see.
What's the cheapest 6.5 Creedmoor you guys have?
Cheapest 6.5 Creedmoor. That's an excellent question.
You can look for ammo or other
Like the
accessories.
Savage.
It'll probably be the Savage.
Hey, can I get one of those?
Sure. Got your drive plug? Yeah. I'll get you out of the back. We got a pile of them. A literal pile.
That's the cheapest thing you got.
It even comes with a scope. Still up here? Yeah. Okay. Good enough.
Trying to do the cheapest 6.5 Creedmoor build. I'm gonna throw an Arken on it.
X-ring, yeah.
Take it out to a mile.
Like 0 ring or something. I've shot with you at
somewhere.
No, it's up the mountain.
Oh, up at Big Ivy.
Yeah.
Or VOD as well. You got to have something here for a Savage. It's got to be. All right, it's 12:23. Paperwork's done. Picking up a Savage Axis. Got this cool guy helping me. He's actually watching the channel. Saw me. Needed to get a base for this thing. So this is a 20 MOA low-pole base. It's $49. So let's do it. All right, 1236. Got the rifle, got the mount. The only thing that could stop us is if the 840 doesn't work. Let's see what happens. All right, so it was an absolute madhouse in there. I've never seen it that busy in my life. It is 12:39, so less than an hour. Paperwork went quick and everything else. And I asked them why it was so busy, and they said, and I hope this is wrong, guys, and this is not supposed to be part of the video. They said it was because everybody's spending their FEMA bucks. So hopefully people weren't going in there buying rifles with FEMA funds that they got because of the disaster effort and all that. And I can tell you that all the disaster relief is over here in the parking lot, but I've never seen it like that. There were like 15 people in line buying rifles, and it didn't make sense. And I do get it, it's hunting season, but that money's not for that. You shouldn't be buying guns with your FEMA bucks. You should already have the bucks, and that should be helping restore you in the area and get you back on your feet. All right, so the only thing that can stop us at this point is if that mount doesn't work, because it comes with a Weaver and a cheap Bushnell scope. You're not going to be able to do this with that. That's more of a hunting setup. So they didn't know whether or not it was going to be the 648 screws or the 840 screws, because there was a change within the Savage Axis models. So what I think I'm going to do is, rather than drive an hour to go to Old Fort to go to the range, I think in the parking lot here, I'm actually going to see if I can get that mount on. I know this is probably the best place in the world to do this, but at the same time, I need to know that this is going to work before I drive an hour and then an hour back if it doesn't work. And what I'm talking about is you're going to need a rail like this that's a Picatinny, so that you can put rings or something like that on there. You don't want to do a Weaver. So just think about buying a car but having loose lug nuts. We don't want to use cheap rings or anything like that, and I want to be able to mount this Arken onto this rifle. So let's see if we can do that first. All right, so I'm still in the parking lot. You guys can see that, but I need to make sure this is going to work. So what I'm going to do is take this thing out. I'm not going to return the rifle, so I don't even care if I bend it. So what I want to do is basically, let me grab some coins and let me see if I can get this loose. All right, first thing I'm going to do is try to take the scope off. So I'm just taking a quarter. Oh yeah. I know the shadow's bad. All right, so there it is. Bushnell, piece of junk. All right, now what we're gonna do is we gotta get these off. This one here. All right, so there's the top of the receiver. It doesn't have flat cuts, so that's supposed to work with this loophole. All right, now this works right. This should give me my 20 minutes, and this is not gonna work. This is the wrong size. It doesn't reach. The hole pattern is different. All right, so ironically, it uses a long action on a 6.5 Creedmoor with a Savage. So if I do that, let's see if we can put this loophole on here. Now guys, I do recommend that if you weren't in a hurry like I am, that you use glue Loctite on this, because this is the foundation of everything. So all we're doing is snugging it up, make sure it kind of lines up, which it is. Look at that, we got the 840s in here. Voila. You want to torque these to about 23 inch-pounds or so, which I'll do out in the field, just by guessing what 23 is. Don't go too crazy, but what we want to do is that we definitely want to establish that foundation first. So we know we're in business, we're good. We use the loophole, long action, 840. Done. All right, guys, so I'm glad that came together and worked out well. Total out the door with everything. I'm gonna keep my personal information out of here. $444. You guys can see it right there. And that included the targets. So I could have gotten out of there. I guess they were holding like a 10% sale or something like that. But basically $400, because you got to remember those targets were 21 plus you had tax and all that. So basically $400 out the door. Now we're going to put the Arken on there. Once I get the old fort, let's get this done. All right, real quick for verification. Got the cell phone. It is 1 o'clock. And it is the 19th. So just an hour and 20 minutes later or so, let's go. It is 1:45 and I am pulling up at Old Fort. All right, so as I mentioned, I've got 3 optics to choose from. I've got the Arken EP4L 6-24. I'm not going to use that one, not enough internal adjustment. Then we also have the 7-35, the EP5 Gen 2, but I'm going to go with the 4-16 by 50 millimeter first focal plane and SH4J or SH4 Gen 2. So this is the one we're going to use straight out of the box. Like I said, big shout out to those guys. I'm going to put these up here. And remember, and this is straight from the store, guys, we want to, in a perfect world, what we want to do is we want to degrease and Loctite these screws for the base. Okay, that should be first and foremost. I did not do that. I am going to highly recommend that you guys do it. You want to use a minimum of about 23 inch-pounds should be sufficient for this. So I'm going to go 23 inch-pounds. Wouldn't take any specialty tools, but you want to make sure that it's tight and not moving. Now, so here we go. 23. Start in the middle and then work your way out. Try not to ever start at an end. We've got good action. It works. Let's see what this trigger feels like. A little heavy. So let's go ahead and throw a Harris on here. Man, this is super lightweight. But this thing is a super lightweight rifle. Let's get it set up. Bipod. That'll give me something to work with. It's not a leveling one or anything like that. We're just trying to do this as quick as we can. Okay, that's it, done. So I'm gonna take the rifle, looks pretty dang level to me. We can adjust, oh yeah, now we're smooth. We've got full movement of the power ring. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the parallax here on full infinity. We wanna go max power. I'm gonna look up into the sky and I'm gonna close my eyes, I'm gonna open them. If the reticle's not clear, which it's not, I need to adjust the ocular here so that it's crystal clear for me. I'll typically take a paint pen and mark that so if somebody else is screwing around with my rifle, I can tell. And it needs to have a little built-up cheek riser because if I actually get on the cheek, I'm too low here and I really can't lower the scope anymore. So I'm going to be riding on my cheek, which is fine, no problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find something, an arbitrary target that I can see, but I want to balance the back of the rifle. And I just want to get it close to that. Now this would be easier on a bench, but I don't want to go up there because guys are shooting. But basically, bolt is pulled. I want to find something, 50 to 100 yards that I can see through the barrel. Okay, that's all I'm trying to do. And let me see here. I'm going to find a branch. It's about 60 yards away. All right, so that branch is dead center. Try to be concentric, looking through your bore. Nothing's going to move. So I'm seeing that branch on that tree and I'm going to just pop my head through here like a little gopher. And the reticle is actually to the right of the actual branch. So that means I need to move it right, okay? Right in there. Okay, so that's close as far as the windage. Pretty darn close. And then what I'm going to do is I need to get the elevation right. I'm just slightly above it. So up is down, down is up. That's it. So what I see through here is pretty close to what I'm seeing on the reticle. We're going to just throw the rifle in there. All right, let's head to the range, get it done. All right, so driving over here, it did fall over in the truck as I kind of expected it would. But I just got some targets put up. We're gonna go right over here to the range. These guys can witness I have not shot a single shot. And what we're gonna do is see if we can put this thing on paper. They're going down range right now, so we don't wanna touch it. All right, guys, so I've got two brands of ammo here. It's actually one brand, but it's the Hornady ELD M's, but I've got 147 grain and 140 grain. This has no rounds through it. I've got witnesses here straight out of the truck. I put it up here. You guys saw it when we mounted it. Let's start off with the 140. But guys, you got to remember, when you get into long range shooting, I see so many guys come out here, they'll burn 10 rounds in like 2 minutes. You can't do that. This is a hunting weight barrel. It's super, super lightweight. It's going to heat up very fast. You're going to start throwing shots everywhere. So I do have the Allen system going. And what I'm going to do is I've got to get this thing zeroed. I haven't shot anything through it. It felt like it chambered. I don't know. We're going to go for the top right shoot and see. Top right shoot and see. Here we go. Man, it's a heavy trigger. All right, so based on that, from what I can see, there were already impacts up there. I can't tell if that is low left or not. Let me review the footage. All right, so after reviewing the footage, it was low left. You got to remember, it's also cold bore, brand new rifle. If I measure that out in my reticle, I'm about 8/10 left and about a 1/2 mil low. 8/10 left, 1/2 mil low. So I'm going to go 8/10 right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I said 1/2 mil low, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was shot number 1. All right, here's shot number 2. Shot number 2 should be close to the bullseye. And here we go. All right, so elevation is pretty good. We're going to come down 1/10. And right 4/10. And that's probably going to be more of a true zero. And then I'm going to let it cool after this. Bullseye. So that is pinwheel in the orange, bullseye. I need to go ahead and reset these turrets. I don't care about the velocity. And what we're going to do is we're going to download something like Hornady Fordoff. We're going to put it in there. It's going to guess the velocity. I can tell you the velocity is probably going to be wrong because we don't know what it's coming out of this rifle. So let me go ahead and zero these turrets. And once I zero them out, we should have a good 100-yard zero. All right, remember, I don't care what the numbers say, I just know that it's pretty darn close to zero. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen these Allens. There's 3 of them along the perimeter. And this is not the SH4J, by the way, guys. This is actually the SH4. And so you'll see it spins freely. And then what I can do is I can just tighten this down on the 0. So my elevation's at 0. I got to start somewhere, and this is a good place to start. Okay, so now that we've got the elevation set, what we're going to do is we're going to set our windage 0. So we've got to loosen up the 3 screws. Most scopes are 3, some of them will be 2, like your Night Forces. All right, that's going to allow this to free spin. We're going to go to 0. And we'll confirm this with a 3-shot group. Like I said, I'm just letting the rifle cool. If you can't grab the barrel and it be cool to the touch, or if your hand's burning, then you are doing it wrong. You've overheated that barrel. We'll do 3-shot group on the top right target. Top right target. I hate 3-shot groups, but I'm trying to do this on a budget just to show you guys and to confirm that this 0 is good. So here we go. Went up a little bit, but that's okay. I broke my cheek weld too. Okay, so 3 shots, that's gonna measure under 2 inches. I'll get you an exact measurement. We're gonna let this cool. Action feels okay, but now we are 6 shots out with the 140s. We're gonna download Hornady Ford off, it's free. And we'll just put the environmentals in here. I'll do a screen record, you guys can check it out. All right, there's 200 yards. This is the 140 grain. So all that means is I'm going to dial 4/10, okay? For those that are worried about MOA or mils, there's a video on it. It's pretty simple, but this should be a gimme shot. Here we go. Right target, 200 yards, 0.4 mils elevation. Okay, so that's an impact. Now it called for 1.1 at 300. There's a 1/3 IPSC. So I'm at 1.1. 300 yards. Let me move the island over so you guys can see this. There's the 300 there. It is the one to the right, the one that's in dead center of the target. And here we go, 1.1. That's an impact. So far, so good, or so good so far. These guys need to run up range. Before we do, what I'm going to do is, let me go ahead and skip and just go to 500. So let me go ahead and move this camera. .500 is 3 mils. All right, so 500 Hornady Ford off called for 3 mils. So let's go ahead and do this where you guys can see it. I'm going to zoom in. I'll do one more shot and then we'll let it cool. So 500 yards is going to require a little bit of elevation on my end here. And at some point it's going to be off, guys, because like I said, we don't have a velocity. I didn't use a chronograph or anything, and that's fine. You don't need it. Let the ballistics calculator do the work, and you want to make sure that you're level. There's still a whole bunch with fundamentals of marksmanship and all that other stuff you got to worry about, but we're not worried about that right now. We just want to do this with this rifle. Everything looks pretty good. We've got to adjust the parallax, make sure we're quote unquote focused. Here we go, 500 yards. Okay, and that's an impact. We're going to let it cool, but so far we zeroed. We confirmed which ammo we wanted to use. We shot at 200 based on 4-DAW, shot at 300. We could have done 4, but we just went ahead and went to 5, and all I'm doing is dialing what this thing tells me to do. Okay, the rifle's cooled off, and so I haven't shot any other rounds. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to verify 600 and 700, and then my job will be done. I'm not taking any extra shots at all. Matter of fact, this is still that box of the 140s. The 2 empties are on the ground there, or they're in the rifle. No, they're on the ground. So I'm going to take 2 shots. So that's going to leave us with 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 shots in here. And I'm going to try 600. Now the dope will be off at some point because the velocity was just that, and that was a guess. And so it says I should be 4 mils at 600. So we'll try it. It's a full-size IPSC. This isn't a precision rifle, so I think that's realistic, trying to go for that. Let's see here. All right, we're recording. Here we go, 600 yards. And that's an impact. 700 calls for 5.2. Now, 5.2 mils is probably going to start being off. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, we're just guessing here. Let me move the Allen system. 700. Oh, there's a tree down in front of the target, but that's okay. We're going to wait till this guy quits shooting so we could actually hear it if I do impact it. All right, there's a lull. Here we go, 700, 5.2. Impact. So you guys saw it there, exactly how we did it. So tomorrow what I'll do is I'll go to Clinton House. We'll try to shoot at 1,000 yards and then a mile. We haven't even gone through one box of ammunition yet. I can account for every round that we've shot. All right, guys, so you saw that all the way out to 700 yards, and I didn't true any dope out or anything else. It was good enough with this pencil weight, you know, hunting rifle, if you will. But you got to remember, this whole package less than $800. It's actually super lightweight. It does jump some. A little pencil barrel, who cares? We shot 3 rounds of the 147. We're not going to shoot those anymore because it just didn't group as well as I liked. And you got to remember, it is now 3:36 on the 19th. And at 11 o'clock, I didn't even have a rifle. We did all this in the back of the pickup truck. We have 9 rounds left of the Hornady 140 grain. I could do some more shooting just to kind of true it out and everything else, but I think we proved what we needed to prove today, and that was being able to shoot out to 700 yards very, very easily. I've walked you guys across it every step of the way, and we did it the right way so far, other than not Loctiting and checking this with confirming the straightness of it, if you will. So hopefully it's going to turn out the way I think it's going to turn out, and hopefully, you know, maybe we can hit that mile within these next 9 shots. I don't know if that would be a stretch for this because I don't even know if I can dial that much. If I check it right now, I know typically a 6.5 Creedmoor at a mile is going to be about 25 mils or so. We have 20, but I really wanted to have 40 in here, so we can check it. Every one of these is going to be 8 mils up. So there's 8. There's 16, 17. So I got 17 mils as max, okay? That's going to be a problem. Because if I have 17 mils as max, that means I'm going to need to hold somewhere around, I'm going to guess about 8 mils in the reticle. So for me to hold 8 in the reticle, I've only got 12 in here. I should be able to do dial max and do a holdover. Should be. So that should work out, because like I said, it's going to be somewhere in there. It might be a little bit more, and if I start losing reticle, that's going to be a problem. I'll tell you what, just so that I have an even 8 rounds left, after we've done all of that, that dialing on this, I'm going to go back to the 700. We're going to go ahead and do 5.2. And see if we can hit this again. Here we go, 700 yards, 5.2. Impact. Well, today went just as I planned, and that was to show you that for guys less than $1,000, like less than $800, you can build a long-range setup even with a little pencil barrel like this, as long as you understand the limitations of that firearm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out in the morning to Clinton House. I'm going to go ahead and try to shoot 1,000 if we can get an impact on 1,000. And I'll try it on the MOA target at 1,000, but they do use full-size IPSCs. And then what I'll try to do is hopefully I'll have enough elevation, because I don't want to be changing the optics or anything like that. And I'm going to take a scope base that has another 20 minutes just in case. But otherwise, hopefully we can hit a mile with this thing tomorrow. Like I said, that's the best I can hope for. I appreciate you guys watching. Join us tomorrow. I'm going to film it tomorrow, try to edit it tomorrow. And I did all this editing tonight, so who knows what time it's going to be. By the way, I'm still at the range. I've been doing a bunch of talking with folks around here, and it is 4:39. So all the way out to 700 yards since 11 o'clock this morning, with not even having a rifle and just putting it in something like that. Long range has definitely gotten easier.